Hi, my name's Paul Katz, and I've created this video for the Heist of the Century website because really, Donald Trump's tax plan is, in my opinion, the heist of the century. It targets, it does minimal help for many married couples. It is can be very harmful for single parents as well. Um, I have two kids. I'm married, and being a parent is one of the hardest things in the world. It really is. And we have a two-on-two game: two parents, two kids. I see single parents who have to do it all: go to work, take care of their kids. It's amazing what they're capable of, what they're able to do. And Donald Trump's tax plan targets them for significant tax increases. Um, these could be Gold Star families, widows that have lost their husbands in combat, or widowers maybe who have lost their wives in combat. Um, Not only have they lost a loved one, but their taxes go up. Um, this is done through a couple things, and we'll go into Trump tax plan changes. One, standard deductions for single and married filing statuses have increased under the Trump plan. 15,000 for single, 30,000 for married. This seems all nice and generous, but when you get into how this affects itemized deductions, we'll see that it really doesn't in many cases. The biggest thing is head of household filing status has been eliminated. This is what single parents usually use. It recognizes the fact that if you have children and you're, the only provider at home, you have challenges, and the tax code currently recognizes that. Donald Trump also simplifies the bracket with varying effects. It's kind of interesting to see. That's in my other slide. Everything I'm saying is on Donald Trump's own website. I'm not making anything up. What I've done is I've come up with spreadsheet models that show how devastating he is to single parents. So let's go to my first model. What this presumes is two kids and a modest-sized mortgage. Essentially, there are certainly single parents who rent, but if your goal is home ownership, then I felt that was appropriate to put into the model. So first, let's start with income of 40,000 with a mortgage plus property. We'll start with the salary of 40,000. Because there are two kids in the equation, we have personal and dependent exemptions. I actually routed it down a little bit for simplicity. It's actually 40, 50 a person, but I put 4,000. So in itemized deductions under the current tax system, you have 12,000. I'm saying that you have mortgage interest and property tax deductions of maybe 8,000. That seems roughly right. It's roughly average. You might have a bigger mortgage, you might have a smaller mortgage, you might be in a state with higher property tax, less property tax. Likewise, I presumed state and local income tax of 5%. It's a little lower than my home state of Virginia, but it seemed like a good ballpark. Certainly some states have no sales tax, no income tax, but high sales tax. And of course, you deduct that in certain cases. But essentially, 5% of your income seems like a good ballpark. And you deduct that as part of your itemized deductions. So under the current tax system, a single parent making 40,000 with these deductions can deduct 22,000, which means their total taxable income is 18,000. Here's the tax brackets and how all the income gets poured in. For the first roughly 13,000, you're taxed at 10%. In this case, the remainder is taxed at 15%. Total tax, $2,000, 37 and 50 cents. Here's the Trump plan. Personal and dependent exemptions have been eliminated under the Trump tax plan. You can't use those as itemized deductions. The mortgage is there for you, but that plus your state income tax won't get you over the standard deduction of 15,000 because head of household has been eliminated. The best you can do in this scenario is the standard deduction of 15,000, which means your taxable income is $25,000 instead of 18,000. And some of that is taxed at 12% over instead of 10%. Bottom line is that if you're a single parent making 40,000 with two kids, and this can be economically challenging, Donald Trump feels that you should be taxed almost $1,000 more. Personally, I think that's morally reprehensible. I don't know how we can justify that. This tax plan has been out for a while. He's made adjustments. This is culminations of months of planning. This is not an oversight. This is, I believe, their view of the world. So yeah, I mean, essentially, if you're a single parent, you're gonna have to lose about $1,000 of your income. That's money you can't spend on your kids. That's money you can't, treat them to things. It's horrible. Um, so what happens? Does this get any better as you make more money? Well, the bottom line is the more you make up to a point, the more it hurts actually, because you've lost that $12,000. In this case, the difference is 7,000, but you feel it a lot more in a couple ways as you make more. Let's go to 60,000. The single mom really has it together. 2 kids, got a nice raise. Now you're being taxed 1,500 more. Why? Well, for one, you're feeling the loss of the $12,000 exemption a lot more. The ceiling isn't protecting you as much. You've lost, essentially. You would have been able to deduct 23,000, but now you have to deduct 15,000, so that hurts more. Yeah, that hurts more. It's $8,000 difference. And because your tax bracket, because you start paying the 25% tax earlier than you do under the existing plan. Notice under the current taxation, you don't even hit 25%. In Trump's plan, $7,500 of the single parent's income at this salary level is taxed at 25%. Taxes go up $1,500 for a single parent making $60,000. Again, reprehensible. Maybe a little bit more livable because the single parent's making more money, but who knows? I mean, it's horrible. Let's go to 80,000. Whoa, big jump, right? All of a sudden, your tax increase just about doubled. And the reason for that is pretty straightforward. Your taxable income, in this case, you have taxable income of 56,000. Your state income tax has gone up to help you with your deductions. Your exemptions stay the same, of course, but you have $56,000 of taxable income. Here, you're still at the $15,000 deduction. Nothing's helping you. Even with the increased state income tax, the best you can still do is $15,000, the standard deduction. That's the ceiling in this model. Taxable income 65,000, and you're being hit by the 25% tax bracket way more severely. You're being taxed over $27,000 at the 25% tax bracket, whereas in the old model, you were taxed at only $5,600 was taxed at that amount. So, if you're a single mom and you got your act together, you're making $80,000 and you're hoping to save money for your kids' tuition, you got them a house. Trump believes that you owe him and the government over $3,000 more in taxes. Fellas, this is reprehensible. This is the war on women. This isn't just about rhetoric. This isn't just about locker room talk, although those comments were reprehensible in their own right. Donald Trump and the Republican Party is waging an economic war on women, independent women who maybe want to have final say in how they raise their kids, women who might find themselves in circumstances where they've perhaps lost their loved one to cancer, who knows what. Donald Trump thinks these women need to pay more. And single men too, single dads. There are single dads out there as well. They're wonderful. I don't know how they do it either. And Donald Trump thinks they owe more money as well. The funny thing is, under this model, it doesn't really get better if you are because you're stuck in the single bracket instead of the head of household bracket under Trump's plan. It never really gets better. I mean, you can have your act together and be making $200,000 a year. Let's put that in here. And your increased taxes are now $8,000 because now you're being hit at the 33% bracket. The worst you have in the existing one is 28. The bottom line is the Republican Party and Donald Trump feels that if you're a single woman raising your kids, the more success you have, the more the government needs to snatch it away. I'm sorry I get worked up, but it's true. This is the economic war on women. And to all you pro-life single parents, God bless you. Um, seeing both my kids in the sonogram with my wife was probably the happiest moment of my life. I love kids, and for single parents who are pro-life and think that they want to vote for Donald Trump because they think he's going to be their pro-life champion, understand it's going to cost you. Donald Trump thinks you owe him a lot of money. I'm going to conclude this video on how Donald Trump's plan affects single parents raising kids, especially with mortgages. I'm going to go into the next slide will be married couple taxation. Really, I'm going to show that really Donald Trump doesn't do much for you there. He actually increases taxes for you in a few places and really just rewards the uber rich. But this is Paul Katz, heistofthecentury.com, and thank you for watching.